welcome back to my channel. Today I have a May monthly message for all of the Geminis out in the collective. Please note this is going to be a general reading, so it is not going to resonate with every single Gemini out in the collective. I ask that you take with you what resonates and leave the rest behind. If you are new to my channel, welcome to Eileen Into Spirit. My name is Eileen Rouse. I am a psychic intuitive, a spiritual coach, and a sound healing practitioner. So without further ado, Gemini, let's go ahead and dive into your monthly May message. So Gemini, we are starting out with new life, dance celebration, and the crumbling. Okay, Gemini. So here's kind of the message that I'm getting for you. I feel that right now you're sort of celebrating. You're celebrating something new that has taken place in your life, whether this was by choice or something that initially just occurred, right? So I feel that this is sort of something that you initiated on your own. And I feel that you're celebrating because you're feeling as if you've stepped into something new, something that is more fulfilling for you, something that makes you feel more happy, which is the reason why that you are celebrating. I do want to point out here that here is kind of what I'm picking up. You do have the crumbling here, which is really sort of reminiscent of the tower for me, okay? And its message is, what are you clinging on to? And if you follow me, you know that every day I provide you with a daily message. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that this card came up as a daily message a couple of weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. So Gemini, here's what I'm going to say to you. Even though you are celebrating, even though you are celebrating your new life, you're celebrating where you are, I need you to understand that there are a lot of things in your life that are falling away. And there are certain things that you are clinging onto that you ultimately need to evaluate. Now, with new life is ultimately a new beginning. It is ultimately you choosing a new path, something that is different, that I feel that you feel is more in alignment with who you are. Okay. But here's what I want. Here's initially what I want you to be very aware of. Okay. The celebration and the dance is ultimately about being fully present. Because when you're dancing, when you're hearing the rhythm of something and you're celebrating that moment. And you have to ask yourself, are you fully present in your life, or do you just feel like you are partially present? Because I feel like there's something in your life that you have ultimately closed the doors on, but there is still something that hasn't been healed or worked on. And I feel like you're trying to shut the door a little too soon. Okay, let's dive in the tarot here, Gemini, just so that we could get some additional information. It's very odd for me to get sort of this conflicting message with dance and celebrate, because normally for me, it's like you being in a state of ultimate bliss and ultimate happiness. But I don't feel that you're particularly there because, yeah, see, you've walked away from something because you felt that you needed. There's a part of you that felt you needed to walk away from something because you felt like wherever you were, it wasn't giving you what you wanted. Okay. So I want to point out here that whatever action that you take, you have to own. You own every single action that you take. I don't read the Eight of Cups this way, but I can't help but feel right now, Gemini, that you might have walked away prematurely. a little too soon because you weren't seeing things from a very clear perspective. So you've now you've now made a choice that has ultimately created a chain reaction, right? Because understand that when the magician comes into play, it's about us owning our actions. We have to own the actions that we take. It's not about fate. It's not about destiny. It's about understanding that every action that we take ultimately creates a domino effect in our life. It doesn't just affect us. It affects other people, other things. Okay. Now, you have the Knight of Cups here, and I'm going to pull another card because this is going to be for the heart of your reading. I feel that you were wanting, okay. Gemini, I feel like you walked away from someone that you ultimately should have probably not walked away from until all of the issues were resolved before making the choice and the decision that you made. I think this is the reason why I feel that you're celebrating a little too prematurely, because you're now in a position where you're experiencing something new. Someone new has come into your life, and I feel that you might have left someone for this new person because this person ultimately is making you feel like you are on top of the world. They're making you feel entirely different than how you've ever felt before. But when the Queen of Cups shows up, okay, here's what I want you to understand. This Knight of Cups is very young. It is a young, inexperienced energy that is all about romanticizing an idea or an experience. You are showing up as the queen here, Gemini, which tells me that this isn't something that will necessarily last. It's not lasting. When the Queen of Cups shows up, the Queen of Cups is intuitive. She listens to her gut instinct. She listens to her intuition. She does not make impulsive decisions because she understands that by making impulsive decisions, she ultimately is not aligned with her intuition. Okay. I feel that I want you to understand, Gemini, that the actions that you chose right here are going to affect you in the long run. I don't know how else to say this to you, Gemini, but the choices that you have made up to this point are ultimately going to affect you. I feel that your decision was very clouded and it was very one-sided. You weren't really looking at it from a higher perspective. You were looking at it more from your own blocked perspective. It's sort of like you were looking at it with blinders on. So you weren't looking at it from all angles. You weren't looking at it from what's in the best interest for everyone involved. You just looked at it from your own perspective. You didn't really care about what anyone else thought or how your choices and your decisions were going to affect anybody else around you. You simply just made the choice. And I need you to understand that that choice has now affected you in the long run. So now it's really about you. I don't want to say this, but they're making me say this. It's really about you reaping what you sow. Okay. The Knight of Pentacles, Gemini, is about really being loyal and committed to your dreams and your visions, right? Because it's about long-term goals. It's about being committed to your actions, being committed and constantly, working towards bettering yourself and putting more effort and energy into something that you ultimately want to build and create. And I feel that now you're in this position that you're unsure of what is going to come of your choices now. Because of this new life that you sort of pushed yourself into. I do feel that whatever you're walking away from is something that you're ultimately needing to heal from. I don't feel that, I feel that whatever relationship this was that you walked away from, there could have been, there could have been some hope with it, right? But I feel that your choice, you had already made your choice. Your choice was already, you had already decided, you know, I'm done. And so you decided, you know, I'm walking away. Yeah. You chose yourself in this perspective, and you ultimately made that choice. And I would typically always say, Gemini, that you should always choose yourself above anybody else. But in this particular instance, you have to be very careful because sometimes the Queen of Wands is a very confident energy, very vibrant energy. Tower card, see? Yeah, okay. But I feel a lot of times, if you're the type of person, Gemini, who makes impulsive decisions, you don't think things through. You're like, okay, this is what I want to do. And then instead of thinking about it, instead of allowing yourself to really mull over it for a little bit, you just automatically make the decision. And then that's when everything starts to break apart and fall apart. And I can honestly tell you that the choice that you made to shut the door on this previous relationship, and then you choosing to break that up by getting into another relationship, isn't going to give you what you're wanting. Whatever it is that you walked away from, whatever relationship you walked away from because you felt that it wasn't fulfilling enough for you, and you jumping into another relationship right away here, Gemini, is only going to show you the same thing. I don't, here with the Hermit card, this is really about you needing to learn to be happy and content on your own without needing somebody else. And it's very interesting here, Gemini, because when the Hermit card shows up, especially in a relationship, the one thing I'm going to always say, because I've seen this time and time again here, Gemini, is that you have to learn how to fill your own cup. You're needing to seek solitude and be content with being alone. Because I feel that what you're ultimately wanting when it comes to relationships, you're not going to get what you're wanting. No one can fulfill that for you. You're needing to fulfill that for yourself. And I feel that right now, the choice that you made, you're living in this illusion. You're pretending that everything is okay and everything is exactly how you want it to be. But deep down inside, you know that it's not. And I feel, and the bad thing about this is that you're ultimately creating the same thing for yourself later on down the road. The Empress is about creation, and it's about birthing something. And I do feel that, because you have the Knight of Pentacles here, this new relationship that you're in could last a while, but it isn't going to give you what you're wanting. I'm sorry, Gemini. I wish that this could be a little bit different, but this is exactly what I'm seeing for you. And I'm going to say just right now, Gemini, this is probably not for everybody. This is probably maybe for one or a few people out in the collective right now. Here's what I'm going to tell you, because this is what your team really wants you to know. You need to take time to yourself and really evaluate where you are unsatisfied in your life. Really figure out where that wounding specifically is coming from here, Gemini. And you need to learn to fulfill that and heal that on your own. It is not anyone else's responsibility to make you happy. You have to find the happiness within yourself. So Gemini, this is your message this month. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. And I look forward to seeing you next time with your new message. Bye, guys.